In this lesson, we'll be discussing similar figures. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to use similar figures to find a missing distance and create similar figures to solve problems. So indirect measurement means that we use similar figures to measure. So we set up a proportion and cross multiply. So remember, this is to this, that is to that. And then we can say 3 times 2 is 6 and 6 times 1 is 6. So they are proportional. To check for similarity, remember that dilations create similar figures, so we just match up the corresponding sides and write a proportion. And then we cross multiply to check. So for example, in this triangle JKM, this side JM is 3 centimeters, and the corresponding sides, and I know that RT is corresponding because this has 2 arcs in J and this has 2 arcs in R. So 3 is to 9 as 5 is to 15. So I set up 3 to 9 as 5 is to 15. And then I'll check it to see if we can cross multiply and they are equal. I could also do 3 is to 5. So this side of the triangle, the 2, 3 arcs to the one side. So 3 is to 5 as 9 is to 15. And again, cross multiply to check. So some examples. Use cross products to determine whether each pair of ratios form a proportion. Yes or no. So 4 elevenths equals 12 33rds. Let's find out. Set them up equal to each other. Cross multiply. 4 times 33 is 132, and 11 times 12 is 132. So yes, they are proportional. 6 over 17 equals 8 over 9. Make them equal to each other. Cross multiply. So 144 equals 136. No, they do not equal. They are not proportional. Billy is 6 feet tall and casts a shadow that's 5 feet long. If the flagpole casts a shadow that's 15 feet long, how tall is the flagpole? So we're going to set up that proportion, person to shadow, flagpole to shadow. So if we set up the proportion, 6 feet is to 5 feet. The person is 6 feet. The shadow is 5 feet. The flagpole we don't know, so we're going to put X, and the shadow is 15 feet. So now we cross multiply, and we get 5 times X is 5X, and 6 times 15 is 90. We divide both sides by 5, and X equals 18. So the flagpole is 18 feet tall. Jason goes on a 20-mile bike ride every Saturday. He rides the distance in 4 hours. At this rate, how far can he ride in 6 hours? So we're going to set up miles to hours, miles to hours. So 20 miles takes 4 hours. I don't know how many miles takes 6 hours. I'm going to cross multiply. 4 times X is 4X. 6 times 20 is 120. Divide both sides by 3, and I get X equals 30. 30 miles in 6 hours. Fred can drive 120 miles using 5 gallons of gas. How much gasoline will he need to drive 350 miles? We're going to set a proportion, miles to gallons, miles to gallons. So 120 miles, 5 gallons, 350 miles, but I don't know how many gallons. So I'm going to cross multiply. 120 times G is 120 G, and 5 times 350 is 1,750. I divide both sides by 120, and the gallons is 14.6. So how do we set up a proportion? This is to this, as that is to that. Triangles are similar when their sides are proportional.